My name is Ronald Mugisha. I work as a Senior Cyber and Fraud Risk Officer at the Uganda Bankers Association that is located in Muyenga. Yeah, the UBA is really an association that brings all the banks together. We have 34 member banks that are regulated and supervised by the central bank. In the financial services sector, one of the things that is very critical for us is being able to positively identify our customers. Yeah, if a customer comes into the bank branch, for example, and presents an ID, an identity card, we should be able to verify that this identity card, belongs to Ronald, who has come to open an account. And we do not have access to verification services. Yeah, so what that would create is you'd have, a customer maybe forging different identity cards and then going to different institutions to open accounts. And there are different kinds of fraud that really would happen around, different kinds of identity theft would happen because you wouldn't be able to identify a customer positively. And that's what was really going on in the industry. It wasn't a very, very big threat initially, but as you know, as the economy grows, as our youth grow, as people look for opportunities, different habits start developing, and fraud was, growing and escalating because we couldn't purely identify customers that were coming to open accounts. So that was what was happening, prior to engaging with NITA. When we engaged with NITA, moving on, when we engaged with NITA, we consumed a service that enables us to identify our customers, to validate an identity card. So what happens is a customer would come into the bank branch, present their national ID, would then take this national ID and through the NITA service would then be able to, poll NIRA and verify a NIN that has been shared and other credentials. Of course, it's with the consent of the customer. And what that helped us to do is to positively identify our customers who are opening accounts, who are accessing different bank services, credit services, maybe at staff onboarding. There are so many use cases where customer identification is critical. The implementation of this project, we had, I think, up to 21 member banks consuming the service. And if you want to measure the impact of that, you need to understand things like financial inclusion and deepening. If the banks are able to identify a customer positively, it means, for example, the credit rating of that customer changes. Yeah, they can be able to know that this is Ronald and they are comfortable to lend Ronald a certain amount of money. Yeah, or it also eased the customer onboarding process, the way customers open accounts. So you'd see an uptick in number of accounts being opened amongst the member banks, and that speaks to the financial inclusion and deepening. You have more unbanked getting banked, both in the urban and rural areas. So those are the benefits that we've actually accrued from working with NITA and accessing NIRA for identity verification. Where do we want to go in future? So this is digital transformation and it's a journey. Yeah, there is no hard stop to it. Situations keep evolving. So what we want is to move from identifying the customer using, certain features and go to biometric verification of the customer. And this is the next phase of this journey. And it's a journey that we hope will work with NITA, be able to consume services from NIRA. But this time being biometric verification, being able to identify a customer using their thumbprint or their iris, following the upgrades that NIRA is doing and that NITA then exposes to key stakeholders. And if we do this, it goes, pushes us to another level in, again, de-risking customers, in driving financial inclusion and deepening, and basically, taking our nation, Uganda, to another level. We're excited to see where NITA is going and, what new services you'll be extending to the citizens and to the Bankers Association. Things from, for example, what your SAT is offering from a cybersecurity perspective, what the UG Hub is offering, would like to see more of those services and, take them to our members to, to consume. Yeah, would also, of course, like to drive, to be part of the journey where government services are being extended to the end users, to consumers, would like whichever services are being offered by NITA that, help our citizens, especially from a financial services sector, would like to be part of that.